Labor's Local 329 Business Manager Chris Rader here with what I think is a very important announcement for all union members across Ohio. So this election, like every election, everybody's going to tell you it's the most important election in a long time. And for the most part, this one actually is. And here's why. So let's talk about right to work. If you're a union member, you may or may not know what right to work is. And the quick, simple way of explaining right to work is the ability for anyone to have the right to work on any job site, regardless if they're a union member or not, and make the exact same wage that you as a union member does without paying any dues, without having dues deducted, without having any of that. And on paper, that sounds terrific. And if you're here in Lima and you're one of the steel workers, you already know what a bad deal that is. Because that's what Cenovus and the previous negotiation did to you. And you know that's bad. You know that's wrong. But for everyone else, it sounds like a good deal because you don't have to pay, you don't have to do that. But you don't get representation. You don't get that insurance. You don't get your fringe benefits. You don't get that pension. And what that ends up doing is destroying unions. Right to work is a job-killing, union-killing law that has been going and spreading across. And it took Indiana, and it took Michigan, and it took Kentucky. And you can ask those people. Maybe you won't see anybody here from Michigan. But if you're in Toledo, you're in Sandusky, you probably know Michigan labor. If you're here in Lima, you probably know Indiana labor. You probably know Kentucky labor that works right here in our local. I imagine the same goes for Columbus. Same goes for Cincinnati. Same goes for everyone. Portsmouth. You probably even got some West Virginia ones over by Portsmouth. Because that's all right to work. You don't see Pennsylvania labor. You don't see Pennsylvania craftsmen come across the line unless there's a major job going on. And that's because they didn't vote against themselves. They voted with what their union asked them to vote. And your union today, not just me, but unions statewide, is asking you to vote for Tim Ryan. And I want Tim Ryan in. Tim Ryan's the pro-worker candidate. But that's not why I'm here. Because Tim Ryan is not going to stop right to work. So who will? Right here. Jennifer Bruner, Marilyn Zayas, Terry Jamison. Those three. You don't have to vote for them all, but you need to vote for some of them. Because if those ladies, at least one of them, if none of them get in, then what that does is that effectively will end the union. And here's how. So fair districts laws. You guys voted in. We all voted. A lot of people, a majority of Ohio voted to have fair districts, meaning if 50% of the population is Republican and 50% of the population is Democrat, then you have equal sides and they have equal power. If you got 60% Republican, 40% Democrat, then it's 60% Republican statewide seats and 40% of Democrat statewide seats. And that is what the fair districts are. And they're supposed to be redrawn every, I believe, 4 years. That's off the top of my head. I'm not researching this. So why does that matter? Well, because while Mike DeWine is an ally at this point when it comes to stopping right to work from happening here in Ohio, if that fair district becomes unfair, if Republicans can continue to buy time and get a favorable court that will see it in their eyes where they can draw any districts that they want regardless of what the votes are and get rid of fair districts as a whole, they will have a supermajority and then they can strike down any veto that Mike DeWine or Nan Whaley or any governor would be able to put in their way because they'll have all the power, and that's a state law. So that will end up killing our unions. That could happen on my term. It could happen on the next person. I don't know. But it's a real possibility for the first time in quite some time. And the only way we stop that is by voting those three women. At least a few of them, or a couple, or one. Just bare minimum one needs to go. And you need to get off the party allegiances. Because let's compare. And I brought a little bit of a prop here. This right here. Let me get it camera direction. There we are. This is a map of Trump voters in 2016. This is a map of right-to-work voters, 2016. No, it's not. I'm sorry. That's right-to-work states, nationwide. That's a current map because Kentucky picked it up in 2017. Now, if we compare these maps, find the differences. If you played with highlights for kids, find the differences. So, main thing is Alaska is a right-to-work state, is not a right-to-work state, but they supported Trump. Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Missouri. Those are the differences. Everything else, it's identical. And why is that? Because right-to-work is a Republican agenda. And if you're voting against what keeps this from happening to Ohio, wherever you are, there we are, then you're the reason that right-to-work is going to happen. Right here, in your home. And it's going to kill your ability to retire because a lot of you guys are working. If you are already retired, you might not be able to see those payments all the way through. And I'm sorry if this seems like it's fear-mongering, but you should be scared. You should be scared because you're giving it away. You're giving away your union. And you're stabbing your union brothers and sisters in the back. And the way you're doing it is with your vote, with an allegiance to somebody who doesn't give a rat's ass about you. But we do. You should be caring about your brothers and sisters. You should be active. You should be aware. And you should not be ill-informed. And if I didn't put this message out here, because I put it out during meetings, I know you guys don't come to the meetings because some of you are working. It's too late. There's 1,000,001 reasons why you can't make it to a monthly meeting. But then when you're not participating, when you're not active, when you're not volunteering, this is what happens. Because you're being complacent. Because you're just happy to pull in a check. And what will end up happening? You will lose the ability to pull in those checks. And you might cite it's inflation making things difficult, but good luck when we have the same wages as Michigan, where it's about $22. Or Indiana, where it's $23. Yeah, you might get dental. I could use some dental. But you're not going to get paid right. And these wages that we just voted in, they'll get frozen, they'll get struck down, and they will shrink or stagnate and stay here. And this is generations. Because once it's gone, it is hard as hell to get it back. And you will give it away. And you'll be the reason. So wake up. Because this is too damn important to just keep voting and aligning with someone who is against the union. They are against workers' rights. They are looking to keep you poor. And the reason they want you poor is because then it's easier to control you. Because if you have financial freedom, and that's what this affords you, if you have financial freedom, they really can't force you to work until the day you die. But if you are needy and you are begging, they create their own problem. Everybody doesn't want, they're just taken from the government. They're just doing this, they're doing that. It doesn't matter. What matters is your wallet. And the only way you protect your wallet is you vote those 3 judges. I'll say it one more time. Jennifer Bruner, Marilyn Zayas, Terry Jamieson. Because without some of those seats going, the union's gone. It's a distinct possibility, and while they won't spell it out and they won't say it outright, that's reading between the lines. Because it's just like everything else. DeWine won't have to take responsibility. Somebody else ruined the unions. It wasn't his fault. And even if it was Nan Whaley, and I hope it is, but if it's Mike DeWine or if it's Nan Whaley, neither of them will be able to stop right to work. If all these districts and all the state senators and Republican seats decide they don't like unions anymore, even though we've got some friends, we could make some enemies. And we have over the years, because their friends really are their corporate donors. Not you. Not us. not the unions. Big corporations, big oil. Mike DeWine could have been here protesting the way Nam Whaley and Tim Ryan did. He was in Lima while we were outside gates. And he elected not to show up. That he didn't want to step in. And why is that? Well, Mike DeWine's a friend of big oil. All you got to do is look at the hybrid and electric tax. And you might not like either technology. But that tax is basically trying to incentivize keeping oil. And good. Maybe. Oil's too convenient to give up. I don't want to see it. A lot of my friends work in the refinery. But it has to be said. Don't give it away. Be smarter. Read between the lines. Because this is the game plan. They run out the clock. And then it's over. Game over. We lose. Don't let it happen. I want to see you in here. If you want to come to me and talk about it here at Local 329, we can talk about it. But don't think for a second that I'm doing this to better myself or to get our agenda. Our agenda is protecting our work. That's it. Bare minimum. Protect your work, protect your job, protect your wallet. Because you might not want to vote for Tim Ryan, but the CHIPS Act right there in Columbus, that was sponsored by him. If you're looking forward to that, knowing that maybe it will be a good moneymaker for years, you have Tim Ryan to thank for that. And when it mattered here in Lima, he came out for us. And he's supporting us, and he's supporting unions. And you're not going to give him your vote? You're going to give it to J.D. Vance, who wasn't even in state when this was happening? You're going to give Mike DeWine what? First of all, you guys hated him for quite some time over the mandates. And you're going to give him a vote over Nam Whaley, who came here just this week to talk to members, and you didn't show. With the exception of a handful. Because you were either working, and that's fair, or you just couldn't be bothered, and that's pathetic. Be better. Be good. Support your union. Vote with your union. Because you might like the other side when it comes to some of these wedge issues, because that's all they are. They're wedge issues. This is the one that affects your life every day. This one, right here, right to work, will affect your life, and you'll have nobody to blame but yourself, because I've tried to warn you, and they've tried to warn you. Be safe.